What's up, everybody? Your boy Scuba Steve coming back at you. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove the stock air intake and install a cold air intake on a 2022 Hyundai Sonata N-Line with the 2.5 liter turbocharged Smartstream motor. Now, the tools that you're going to need, okay, you're going to need a ratchet, you're going to need a couple of extensions, you're going to need a 10mm socket, you're going to need an 8mm socket, and you're going to need an Allen wrench. Now, the cold air intake that I'm installing is a Sxth brand cold air intake. Now, I've already pieced this together, so when it comes from the manufacturer, it does come disassembled. So you do have to put all the parts and components, but again, it's pretty straightforward. Hooking up the hoses and the clamps, it's pretty straightforward on this. So we're going to go ahead and get started and show you how this is done. Okay, so the first step that you're going to do is we're going to unhook the evap lines, and you've got 3 that you have to unhook. You got the 2 in the front, and there is 1 on the bottom. These all have a quick release on it, so you can see there's a quick release button, top and bottom. You're going to compress and unplug. Same thing on this. You got the blue one, both sides, compress, unplug. And just remember, the plug with the blue ends goes on the bottom connector. Black plug goes on the top connector. Okay, next step we're going to do is you have 3 hose clamps that you're going to loosen. You've got the one that's directly connected to the turbo inlet. You've got the middle one that connects the piping from the turbo inlet, and then you've got the third that connects the piping to the evap connector that goes into your factory air box. Again, this will be 10mm socket that you're going to use to loosen these. We'll go ahead and get these loosened. I'll show you the next step. Okay, now we have all 3 of these hose clamps loosened, disconnected. Next step will be you have 2 10mm bolts, one right there and one right there. Those are holding your OEM airbox in place. So for this, again, 10mm socket. Okay. My case, I have 2 extensions because I didn't have one long enough for me to comfortably put my hands in there. You may have a longer one that doesn't require 2, but in my case, I use 2. So we'll go ahead and get these 2 10mm bolts loosened, and then I will show you the next step. Okay, both of those 10mm bolts are removed. The one in the front top corner and the one in the bottom corner. Next step is you've got the ram air pipe that runs in. This is just clipped in. There's nothing, no screws, anything. This is a rubber pressure fitting that holds that in place. And there are 2 rubber bushings on this side here. So you just give it a little bit of a lift, give it a little bit of a pull. You're going to go ahead and remove that ram air pipe. And this is what it's going to look like once you have everything disconnected. And you can see on the intake, the original, it's just a rubber grommet that holds that in place. And while you're at this step, the other thing you're going to want to disconnect is this bottom evap line on the hose. Now, on that evap line on both sides, there is a black push button on both sides. So you've got to get your hand in there with a little bit of room. You're going to want to get your hand in there. You're going to want to decompress both of those, and then that will unplug. Okay. And you're going to want to do that just for the fact that when you remove the piping in the original OEM air box, you don't somehow, some way damage that coupler or those connectors. So now that the evap lines are disconnected, the ram air intake is off, the 10 millimeter bolts holding the original OEM air box are out there, and all three of these hose clamps have been loosened. We'll go ahead and get this OEM unit off, and we'll move to the next step. Okay, so we have everything out, the OEM air box out, the piping out. The other thing that you need to remove is on the turbo inlet, there is a little rubber grommet that just slides on and slides off. You're going to have to remove that as well. Now with this is also the old air intake tube. So just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like once you have it out. And your old air intake box. And the box from the bottom end, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Okay. So now all the components are out. This is the evap line that was on the bottom end of the air intake piping. Again, just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Both sides have a push release tabs on them, just like the top evap lines. Both have push tabs on them. Note with this, be gentle. As you're pushing and kind of working and pulling, don't just yank, don't pry, don't pull. You might have to kind of wiggle it a little bit and give it a little bit. It might have a little bit of dirt or grease or any, something that might be in there, because there is rubber grommets that are in there as well, because these are all plastic. So you don't want to snap these or break these or lose any of the connector tabs that are in there. All right, we'll go to the next step on starting to get the cold air intake installed. All right, so the next step is I already have my cold air intake put together. Again, this comes in parts, so this is not connected. The lid is not connected. The filter is in the box already. The intake pipe is not connected with the connector ends and the hose clamps as well. But for the evap, okay, here's the unit off of the old air box, and on mine, now it could be different because the bolt that was holding mine on looked like it might have been replaced. Mine was a 10 millimeter bolt holding this in, and on the cold air intake it comes with a spacer unit that's going to go in, and then the evap connector goes into that, and it comes with an Allen wrench screw, hence the Allen wrench. So you're going to need to go ahead and swap this from the old unit right here and get it into the new unit. Now note, be careful with this as well. It's plastic and it does have an O-ring. So please make sure when you're doing this you don't damage the O-ring, or make sure that when you remove it you don't lose the O-ring, because that will create a problem. All right, we'll get this installed. Next step. Evap connector is in. Snug tight. Again, you don't want to over torque this, but snug tight, and also just make sure that the orientation is the same from when you took it off the OEM box. Evap end is in. Before you can put this assembly in on the turbo inlet or the turbo intake, the cold air intake comes with the new rubber boot connector with a hose clamp that you're going to slide on, and it does have there's a stop back in there. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a stop. So you can bottom this completely out, which is where you want it sitting, And then you're going to want to tighten up that hose clamp before you go ahead and get the new air intake put in. These hose clamps that came with the Sxth system are 8mm bolts. So you do need that 8mm socket. So we're going to go ahead now and get this in place. The bolt lineups and the mountings are identical to the OEM. And on the bottom of this, there are no additional connectors. It is built to fit and sit within that cavity like a glove. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this installed and on to the next step. Okay, in like Flynn. Everything's installed, new air box, new air intake pipe. The 10mm bolts are in and torqued down. The hose clamps in the back for the turbo and the hose clamp adapter, or the pipe adapter is in. Everything's tight and torqued and snug. Top evap lines are connected. Again, blue on the bottom, black on the top. And on the bottom, the evap line, it's kind of hard to see there, but that is also connected and hooked up. Last but not least, for the ram air portion of the air intake, this rubber grommet, or gasket, whatever you want to call it, comes off of the old air intake box. Just slides off. Same thing with the new one. It's just going to slide on. The ram air pipe is just a press fit there on the top. 2 button press fits on the bottom with 2 grommets on the bottom. So you're going to work that on, work these in, press until you hear it snap. Make sure that that's pressed on and tight. And there you have it. Final product. Fire up and vroom vroom bitches. And this is rock type. So there's no play, there's no wobble. That is, I mean, this has got a little bit, obviously, just because of the fact that it's just pressed on. But and that's it. Last and final step will be firing up, take it for a drive. As always, disclaimer, if you have any check engine lights on or the vehicle doesn't seem to be running right after the install, you're going to want to walk all the way back through all your steps. Make sure that you didn't miss any steps. Make sure you didn't fail to connect any lines, or that you don't have something installed properly. Other thing, in this case, this is a Sxth cold air intake. This came with all of the installation instructions, whether it's Sxth or any other brand, whatever you're buying. Read those documents. Read the install instructions. Read owner's manuals if they come. Read warranty information. Know everything about it before you get to installing. That way you know what you're getting into and you can know what to expect and what to do in the event of an issue. That's it. Thanks, guys. If you like my videos, hit subscribe, hit like. Hit me in the comments if there's anything I can help with.